Hello children, welcome back. So today we'll be seeing about botany. So the first chapter in botany is living world. So from today we are going to just see the reduced syllabus alone, and if we have time at the end then we'll go on with the additional one because we don't have enough time. We are having so much of lessons to complete. So first we'll move on with the reduced syllabus, and when we have time we'll go on with the additional one. Okay, so here the first chapter, that is the living world. So what are the contents that we are going to learn today in this class is, first one, the lytic and the lysogenic cycle. So what is this cycle is? It's very easy. It is a cycle which is being followed by the bacteriophage. Okay, so this cycle is the infectious stage of bacteriophage, how it is infecting a bacteria through these two cycles. That's what we are going to learn in this lytic and the lysogenic cycle. And then we are going to learn about classification of the linkwords, the normal classification what you have learnt in your zoology, the same classification. And then the third one, gram staining procedure. It's a staining method by which you can find out whether the bacteria is a gram positive bacteria or gram negative bacteria. It is just a experiment like, okay, very easy to learn. And then the fourth topic that we are going to see here is life process in bacteria, how a respiration is occurring in bacteria, how the nutrition is there in bacteria, everything we'll be seeing in this topic. And then reproduction in bacteria, how the bacteria reproduces. There are three ways by which the bacteria reproduce. One is asexual method, there we are having two types, that is the binary fission and the endospore formation. Then in the sexual reproduction you are having three types. One is conjugation process, another one is transformation process, another one is transduction process. So everything we'll be seeing in this content. First we'll go on with this structure. What is this structure? So this is the bacteriophage structure. So normally what is this bacteriophages is? It is the virus that infects the bacteria. So a virus which is infecting the bacteria will be called as bacteriophages. For example, T4 bacteriophage. It is a virus which is affecting the bacteria. So this will be a normal structure of a bacteriophage. When you see here, there will be a capsid head. Inside there will be nucleic acid at the center. There is a collar, that is a neck-like structure, and then you are having the total body is a sheath, and then down you are having the basal plates from which the spikes or the tail fiber arises. So it is just the structure of the bacteriophage. So why I am telling to see this structure very clearly is, this bacteriophage only is going to do the lytic and the lysogenic cycle. So it will be easy for you to understand once you see the structure very clearly, right? And next we are going on with the lactic cycle first. So lytic cycle means, lytic, the word lytic says that burst out. Okay, it has the meaning that bursting out. So lytic cycle means here the virus is going to burst out from the host cell and it is going to come out. It's going to kill the host cell and then it is going to come out. So when you see this diagram very clearly, there are some of the process that has been involved. So have your book in your hand. There are some of the stages that has been given in your book. I'll just tell you with this diagram. First one is absorption. So what the bacteriophage is doing first, it is going and sitting on that particular bacterial cell. Suppose take an example of E. coli. In the E. coli, this bacteriophage is going and sitting. Okay, it's going and sitting, and this process we will tell it as a adsorption. So adsorption means it is just a landing on a particular bacterium. So once the landing is been done, then what happens? There is a step called as pinning. Pinning means what? It just anchors to that. It just anchors its basal plate to that particular bacterium. That is what called as pinning. So first process is adsorption. It is just going and sitting there. It is just landing on it. It is just pinning its basal plates to that particular bacterium. You can see that how it is pinned, right? And then in the second process, what happens? Penetration. Here what happens is, when the virus, that is the bacteriophage, go and sit on that particular bacteria, it just breaks its cell wall and just inserts its own DNA inside it. So that is what the penetration process. Okay, it is just transfecting its DNA into the bacterial cell. Okay, so it is just transfecting its own DNA into the bacterial cell. It is just injecting it into it. And then what happens? The viral genome gets multiplied inside the host genome. Okay, the viral genome will get multiplied inside the host genome, and then the replication happens. That is the synthesis process happens. So all the viral genome will multiply by using the host cell mechanism. It just multiplies itself, and then it forms that particular structure of that particular bacteriophage. You can see that the capsid is separate, the sheath is separate, and the basal plates and spikes are separate in this third point. Can you see that? Yes. So everything will be separately formed, and then what happens? The assembly happens. Assembly means what? This will get its structure by assembling itself. So the capsid will come at the top, and then the sheath, and then the basal plates, and then the fibers, tail fibers. So likewise it gets assembled into a bacteriophage inside the host cell itself. That is what the fourth process, assembly and maturation. It gets matured, it forms a complete bacteriophage, and it gets assembled, and later what happens? It bursts out the host cell, and then it comes out. So now the host cell will be dead. So it comes out and it multiplies into many bacteriophages. So this is what the normal lytic cycle. Then when you see about the lysogenic cycle, it's very easy process. So in lysogenic, there is no involvement of there is breaking down of the host cell. When you see here, the bacteria will sit on it, it will just inject the DNA into the bacterial DNA, and what here happens is it just goes and integrates with the bacterial chromosome. Okay, what this DNA is doing is just going and it is just integrating with the bacterial DNA. You can see the prophage, formation of a structure called as prophage. In bacterial DNA, a small part will be this viral DNA. It will just get integrated into it. This structure will be telling it as a prophage, and then what happens? This will then multiply and gives result into a 2 daughter cells. So that is what. So this is the lysogenic cycle. In lysogenic cycle, you are getting an integrated DNA which will result in 2 daughter cells. That's what. Okay, so here there is no bursting down of host cell, there is no killing of the host cell, just the cycle is being followed like this. This is what called as the lysogenic cycle. I hope this is very clear, right? Lytic and lysogenic. Okay, so the next one, the types of infectious organism that we are having. First we will see about virions. So virions means it is a inactive infectious viral particle which is non-replicating outside the host. So when it is present outside the host, it cannot replicate. Only inside the host it can replicate. That is what called as virion. Okay, then the second type we are having is viroids. So what is this viroids? It is a single circular molecule of ssRNA without capsid. So ssRNA will be present. It is circular in shape, but it doesn't have any capsid. You have seen the structure of bacteriophage, right? It has a capsid like structure, but here there is no capsid. That is what called as viroids. Okay, and then the next one, virusoids. There is a small circular RNAs which are similar to viroids but are always linked to larger molecules of viral RNA. So here it is just similar to viroids, but it is linked with the larger molecules of viral RNA. Okay, that is what the difference between viroids and the virusoids. And then you are having another one thing called as prions. It is actually a protein. Okay, this prions is actually a protein which is infectious in nature. So this protein will cause some of the diseases. For example, a disease called as bovine spongiform encephalopathy, which is commonly called as a mad cow disease. So it is caused by this prions. Okay, these are some of the infectious organisms that you need to know. And then the classification of the living world. So what is this classification of the living world is? We have already learnt in the zoology. So the father of botany is Theophrastus, and then the Aristotle gave some classification, that is Enema and Anema. So the animals with red blood cells, without red blood cells. And then Carolus Linnaeus also classified the two kingdom concept. He gave as Plantae and Animalia. Likewise, three kingdom concept was given, that is the three domain concept which was given by Ernest Haeckel. Likewise, so many people gave some different kinds of classification. That is what we will be seeing in this classification of this living world. Okay, so five kingdom concept which was given by Robert H. Whittaker. So this is what the five kingdom concept. It includes Monera, Protista, Fungi, Plantae and Animalia. So this is just an introduction that you have to know about the different kinds of classification. Okay, and next we are moving on to the next process, that is the gram staining procedure. As I already told you, this is a procedure in which you will find out whether the bacteria is gram positive or gram negative. When you see, this process is very easy, just like an experiment. You please note it down. So prepare, first you are going to prepare a smear of a bacterial culture. You are going to take a bacteria and going to swipe out in the slide, and you are going to add the crystal violet for 30 seconds. Then you are going to wash it with distilled water, and then you are going to add the grams iodine solution for 1 minute. Okay, and then again you are rinsing it with the distilled water. Then you are adding ethanol, okay, for 10 to 30 seconds. Then you are washing it with water again, and again the final one, saffron, has been added, and you are again rinsing it with distilled water. Now you can view it under the microscope. These are all staining methods. So these stains has to be added in order to detect the different structure of this particular bacteria. So that is what the main process why we are doing this. And next, what happens when you see under the microscope, these two types of structures can be observed. You can see this in the slide. The left side one, that is the gram positive, and then the gram negative. So gram positive is looking very different when compared to gram negative. What are the different? So outer membrane here is different in gram negative, whereas the lipoproteins is present in gram negative, whereas it is absent in gram positive. Periplasmic space is present in gram negative, it is very less in case of gram positive. So these are some of the differences. Then peptidoglycan layer, here it is very single, it is very thin, whereas there you are having so much layers of peptidoglycan. So this is what the difference that you have in case of gram positive and gram negative bacteria. This can be observed with the help of this staining method that is given by this Gram. The person who gave this is Christian Gram. Okay, so he is a scientist, he gave this method. So this method was called as Gram staining procedure. Understood? I hope this is very clear, right? And next we are going to learn about the life process of bacteria. First you are going to learn about the respiration process. Okay, first you are going to learn about the respiration. Then when you come to respiration, there are two types of bacteria. One is aerobic bacteria, and another one is anaerobic bacteria. So two types of respiration is possible in bacteria. One is aerobic, another one is anaerobic. Aerobic means in the presence of oxygen only that can survive. That is what the aerobic respiration. So these type of bacteria can use only the oxygen for its survival, whereas anaerobic means they can live in the anaerobic environment, that is they can live without the oxygen. That is what the anaerobe. In your book they have given us example as obligate aerobes. Obligate aerobes means they can live only with the oxygen, otherwise they cannot survive. But in case of anaerobic respiration, they have given a term called as facultative anaerobes. So what is this facultative anaerobes is, first they can initially use the oxygen also, and then when all the oxygen is over, that time when there is no oxygen, even in that situation, it can perform the anaerobic respiration process. So first initially it can do the aerobic, and then it can also do the anaerobic. That is what called as facultative anaerobes. And there are some other bacteria called as capnophilic bacteria which requires CO2 for their growth. That is what called as capnophilic bacteria. Okay, so I have given some of the differences between this aerobic and anaerobic. You can note it down. Okay, and then when you come to the nutrition part, there are two types of bacteria that you can see. One is autotrophic, another one is heterotrophic. Autotrophic means they can prepare their own food. Okay, so they can prepare their own food. Either they use the sunlight or they use the chemical or organic compounds or inorganic compounds. So first, if you see in autotrophic bacteria, you are having two types. That is chemoautotropic, photoautotropic. So chemoautotropic means they cannot use the sunlight, but they can use organic and inorganic substance. That is what chemical. They can use the chemical compounds and they can prepare their own food. Whereas when you see this photoautotrophic bacteria, they can use the sunlight. Okay, there are some of the bacteria that such as green sulfur bacteria which has a bacterioviridin pigment, and then purple sulfur bacteria which has a bacteriochlorophyll. So they will use the sunlight and they will prepare their own food. Okay, so this is what the different types of nutrition that can be seen. One is autotrophs, they can prepare their own food, right? They have some pigments, and the help of that pigment they use sunlight, either sunlight or they use the chemical compounds, organic and inorganic compounds, and they prepare their own food. Whereas in case of heterotrophic, they are dependent on some other organism. In three ways they are dependent. What are the three ways? First one is parasitic. So they just infect a host cell and they just take their food from it. So that is what the parasitic. And the second one is saprophytic. They are the dead and decaying the dead and decayed matter. That is what the saprophytic. So example, some bacteria and fungi, they are doing this decomposing process, right? So when the dead and decayed matter is left in as such, what happens? It is just decomposed by the bacteria. So they are the decomposers or saprophytic. And then the symbiotic bacteria, which lives in close relationship with the other organism. It just unites and lives with the other organism, and it just takes the food from that organism. That is what the symbiotic. They are living going in a close relationship or a mutual relationship. Both will be getting benefited out of this. That is what called as the symbiotic. Okay, so this is what the life process in bacteria. And then we are going to learn about the reproduction in bacteria. When you are coming to the reproduction part, two types of reproduction is possible. One is asexual method, another one is sexual method. When you see the asexual method, there are two types. One is binary fission, another one is endospore formation. Very easy. Okay, binary fission means what? Bi means two, fission means getting breakdown into are getting divided. So binary means getting divided into two equal daughter cells. That is what called as binary fission. If you see the diagram, it will be very clear. A single bacteria cell, it is getting divided into two. Its nucleus is getting divided into two, and then it is resulting in a two daughter cells with the same amount of nucleus. So this is what called as a binary fission. When you see the endospore formation, this endospore formation occurs only in the unfavorable conditions. When the condition is not suitable for the particular bacteria, the bacteria will develop a very thick wall outside it. You can see that outer membrane, very thick outer membrane. Okay, inside the core, the bacterial DNA will be safely protected, and it will be just formed by an outer covering which is very hard, and this structure we will tell it as a endospore. And later, when the conditions become favorable, this will burst out and it will result in the new one. So that is what the endospore formation. So endospore formation will occur only in the unfavorable conditions. So it is also a type of asexual method. And then when you see next one, conjugation. So conjugation, this will come under the sexual reproduction process. In sexual reproduction process, you are having three methods. One is conjugation, another one is transformation, and another one is transduction. So we will learn about these three methods in this chapter, and then we will wind up. So what is this conjugation method? It's a very simple process in which two bacteria is coming together. So you can see the first one, donor cell, and the second one is recipient cell. So donor cell is having the plasmid which is going to get transmitted into the recipient one. So the recipient cell is going to accept it, hence we call them as a recipient cell, right? So what happens here is just a bridge is formed, a conjugation bridge called as pilus. You can see a bridge-like structure which is formed between these two bacteria, that is the pilus. With the help of this pilus, the plasmid is getting transferred into the recipient cell, and later it gets multiplied inside the recipient cell, and they just separate out. So this is what the conjugation process. It is just a temporary union of the two bacterial cell. Okay, so temporarily the bacteria is getting united. One bacterium is sharing its plasmid with another one, and now the conjugation process is over. So this, you can see the microscopic view also I have given it. So one bacteria is how it is united with another one with the help of the bridge that is formed inside, that is the pilus. Okay, so conjugation is very easy. And then when you see about this transformation principle, so Griffith, he has given this transformation principle. So what he has given is, he has taken the strains of Diplococcus pneumoniae. Okay, so he has taken two strains, one is S strain, another one is R strain. S strain means smooth strain, R means rough. Okay, smooth strain is virulent in nature, whereas R is non-virulent. You have this in your mind. Now see this diagram. First he injected the S strain, which is very virulent in nature, into a mouse, and the mouse was not surviving, it dies. Okay, and when he inserted the living R strain, okay, R strain, that is non-virulent strain, into a mouse, the mouse survives. There is no effect in that mouse. And now what he has done is, he has heated the virulent S strain, and then he has injected into the mouse. The mouse is living now, because the virulent nature is being degenerated, because it is heated, so the virulent nature is being reduced, so the mouse is living. And now what happens, he is now just giving R strain along with this heated S strain, and he sees what happens to the mouse. Now the mouse is dying, because the transformation principle has happened here. So already R strain is non-virulent, but when he has heated the S strain, there is some of the transformation that has been happened there. So R strain and the S strain is now just getting combined with each other, and just it has made the R strain into a virulent strain now. So this heated S strain has made the R strain virulent. R strain was normally a non-virulent one, but when the heated S strain combines with this R strain, the effect of this S strain has been transferred into the particular R strain, and now this R strain is making the mouse to die. So this is what the transformation principle. So one character of one strain is transferred into another one. So normally the virulence character is a character of a S strain, but it is getting transferred to R now, because due to this transformation principle. I hope this is very clear now, right? And now the third type of sexual reproduction, that is the transduction process. It is a very easy one. So in transduction, you are having two types of transduction. One is generalized transduction, another one is specialized transduction. When you see the generalized transduction, that can be a possibility of the ability of bacteriophage to carry a genetic material of any region of the bacterial DNA. So here you can see this, the last before structure, can you see? It is having a white color DNA. So it can carry any part of that bacterial DNA. So here it is carrying the white color, that is the bacterial DNA. But if you see the right side, you can see the combination of both white as well as the red one. So here the ability of the bacteriophage to carry only a specific region of the bacteria. So this is what the difference. When you see at the end, here the bacterial DNA is getting incorporated at the last. But here if you see, a combination of the phage DNA as well as the bacterial DNA is getting incorporated. So this is what the difference between the generalized and the specialized transduction. In generalized, any region of the bacterial chromosome or bacterial DNA can be incorporated, whereas in case of specialized, only a part or a particular specific region of the bacterial chromosome or DNA which will be getting incorporated. So with this, our topic is over. So this class is over. So today I have completed up to this. That is, we have seen about the lytic and the lysogenic cycle, then we have seen about the basic classification, and then we have seen about the gram staining procedure, life process in bacteria, about the respiration as well as the nutrition of bacteria. Then we have seen about the reproduction in bacteria, about the asexual method, that is binary fission and endospore formation, and then we have learnt about the sexual reproduction process, in which we have learnt about the three types, that is the conjugation, transformation and transduction. I hope this is very clear. So please take notes in your biology note. I'll be checking your note. So once when you are called to come to the school, that time I'll be checking your note. So please write it down very neatly in your biology note. So wherever you can take the questions, wherever you can mark the questions, you please mark it and learn it very thoroughly, right? So see you soon in the next class. Thank you, children.